Two waiters are listening to music when a guest suddenly crashes down. How does the Sky Restaurant become a hellish scene? A chef carries a flaming frying pan and accidentally sets a passing woman on fire. The woman starts fires everywhere and the whole restaurant is engulfed in flames. Waiters hurry to guide everyone to the emergency exit as the 494-foot load-bearing column is snapped. All guests cram into the elevator, overloading the winch. A bald man shoves a blonde woman aside to squeeze into the elevator only to get stuck in the door. The overhead winch crashes down, mashing him into pulp. The blonde woman suddenly notices wine bottles sliding from the bar to her feet, meaning the building is tilting. As expected, the terrace starts to collapse the next second. The blonde woman rushes to the bathroom door. Though she wants to help those below, it's too late. The chandelier on the platform swings unsteadily and a coin silently slips, falling onto the piano below. It's hard to imagine that this 9,000-ton sky building collapses because of a coin in a child's hand. Let's rewind to a few hours ago. Blonde woman Iris and her lover Campbell crossed the train tracks to attend the Sky Restaurant's opening ceremony. It's said the restaurant was completed 5 months ahead of schedule. Its spectacular design attracts countless visitors upon opening. A child sneaks to fish for coins in the wishing pool when parents aren't looking and staff promptly stop them. They also say, such an act brings bad luck. For some reason Iris, who sees this, feels an overwhelming sense of unease. When they reach the lobby, she finds the elevator crammed full. Iris really doesn't want to squeeze in, but the elevator operator insists, manually closing the ill-fitting door. During the ascent, Iris stares at her feet, nervously clenching her palms as the vibrating floor causes trepidation. The coin-fishing brat even stomps the floor on purpose to scare Iris, who's already afraid. Thankfully, the elevator safely reaches the top floor. Campbell quickly gives their names, hoping the hostess can find them a seat. Since the friend who helped arrange it has long quit, they have no reservation and can only wait awkwardly. It's Iris who reacts, pulling Campbell to the nearby bar, but due to her acrophobia she quickly makes up an excuse to go to the restroom. Just then a waiter pops open champagne. The cork hits the crystal chandelier above and a sharp ornament smashes onto the glass floor, creating a tiny spiderweb crack. Sadly, the dancing crowd doesn't notice. Iris runs to the restroom door, clutching her stomach. The resident singer notices her movement and realizes she's pregnant, though Iris hasn't told her boyfriend yet, because she's still unsure whether to say it. Just then Campbell comes over and pulls Iris to the terrace for sightseeing. A child is lying on one side, throwing coins to the ground, making the waiter very irritated. But this little episode doesn't affect Campbell. He takes out a ring, kneels on one knee, and finally proposes to Iris. This move also dispels the latter's hesitation. Iris tells Campbell the news of her pregnancy and the two happily prepare to go back to the restaurant to celebrate. They also see the coin thrown by the child just get stuck in the restaurant's exhaust fan. At this time, the atmosphere in the hall is high and countless people dance the stomp dance together, causing the small crack to grow larger and the load-bearing column to begin to be overwhelmed. Coupled with the broken exhaust fan blades cutting the pipeline, various accidents continue to superimpose, gradually pushing the restaurant to the gates of hell. Campbell has fallen to his death. As for the child, he was hit by a piano just after running downstairs and the coin fell back into the wishing pool. Seeing this terrible disaster, in the midst of Iris' despair, she suddenly finds the resident singer's son emerging from the ruins and she quickly picks up the little boy and flees. The restaurant collapses with a roar and Iris narrowly hangs on the rock wall. No one expects that the one who saves her life is actually that wedding ring, which is too small in size. But the meat on her hand soon detaches from the bone and Iris crashes to the ground heavily. College student Manny suddenly wakes up from the class, having such a terrible nightmare. For some reason, Manny keeps repeating this dream in the following days. She tells her roommate that the person named Iris has the same name as her grandmother. But the problem is that Manny has never seen her grandmother and her parents never mention her. Therefore, she isn't sure whether her grandmother is dead or alive and whether she is the same person as Iris in the dream. The roommate says, then you can go home to check and solve this problem as soon as possible, otherwise die in the dream quickly. If you wake me up again, I will kill you with my own hands. Anyway, Manny still adopts the roommate's suggestion and plans to go home to live for a while. If this nightmare continues, it will definitely affect Manny's grades and cause her to lose the scholarship. But when Manny was 10 years old, her mother left home and took away all the things about her grandmother, so she plans to go to her uncle's house to have a look. When the two just meet, they are overjoyed, but as soon as Manny mentions her grandmother, her uncle refuses to say anything. Manny has to confess that she has always dreamed of a restaurant called Tianjing 50 years ago. Recently, the uncle quickly exchanges a glance with his wife. Manny can tell at a glance that they must have heard of Tianjing, so she keeps pestering her uncle for answers. Her uncle finally tells Manny, ever since our father died, Iris completely broke down. She wouldn't let me or your mother go to school and locked us at home. Iris was constantly afraid that the two children would die in all sorts of horrible ways. Eventually things got so bad that the government had to intervene and strip Iris of custody. But that crazy woman didn't give up. She secretly tracked the foster families of the two children. In short, this went on for decades. Even after your mother and I had our own children, Iris kept sending terrifying letters full of obituaries and photos of different corpses, forcing us to move to escape her harassment. Her uncle warned Manny, never mention this woman again, she only brings misfortune to us. Manny didn't give up easily. She pestered her aunt to get those harassing letters which contained photos of Iris in her youth. She was indeed the blonde woman from the Tianjing restaurant. Manny went to a deep mountain forest based on the address on the envelope. Iris lived in a dilapidated villa surrounded by layers of strange defenses. Manny identified herself to the surveillance camera and Iris told her to empty all her pockets.
I'm not dangerous.
It's not you I'm afraid of.
Manny has to comply honestly before successfully going into Iris territory. The scene behind the gate can almost be described as menacing. Iris inside the house doesn't let her guard down even in front of her granddaughter, but she is still concerned about her daughter Darlene's situation. Manny replies awkwardly, she left when I was 10, so I really don't know how Darlene is now. Manny then tells her grandmother about her dreams, wanting to know what's going on. Her grandmother says that's not just your dream but also my premonition. 50 years ago at Tianjing restaurant, just as Iris was about to accept Campbell's proposal, she foresaw the future in that instant. Ignoring her nervous boyfriend, she rushed to snatch the coin from the child's hand. Then Iris rushed into the restaurant to cover the chef's frying pan, pushed through the crowd to grab the singer's microphone and warned everyone to leave the dance floor right away. The glass was about to break. Only then did the crowd pay attention to their feet. That night Iris snatched many lives from death that should have died. After Tianjing restaurant was demolished, Iris thought things had calmed down, but Death dislikes others interfering with his plans, so over the years he has killed everyone present that night, including Iris' husband Campbell. She has stayed closed at home all these years to learn how to foresee Death's arrival and escape any possibility of death. But 2 months ago Iris was diagnosed with cancer. As she speaks, she pushes the magnifying glass on the table and the light refracted by the mirror exactly aims at a piece of rope about to break. Manny doesn't notice this situation, only confused why she had that dream about the restaurant. Could it be that after her grandmother got cancer, the ability to have premonitions was passed on to her? Iris smells a burnt odor. She right away notices the rope about to break and smashes the magnifying glass with a medicine bottle. Iris, accustomed to confronting Death, ignores the incident. She takes out a stack of books ready to teach all her learned skills to her granddaughter. Manny quickly refuses. She doesn't want to stay with this strange grandmother and can't fall behind in schoolwork. After speaking, Manny leaves the room. Iris wants to chase after but stops abruptly, for Death's breath hits her and she foresees the consequence of taking that step. But for her family's safety, Iris still chases after and shoves the organized materials into Manny's hands.
You still don't believe me?
Seeing is believing.
The grandmother proves the legend of Death to Manny with her own death. Soon after, the family holds a funeral for Iris, and Darlene, who has been missing for long, finally appears. Not knowing how to face her mother who abandoned her, Manny wants to drive away. Darlene left home before Charlie, the younger brother, could remember, so he doesn't understand his sister's feelings and hopes Manny will stay. Though Charlie doesn't say it, he thinks his sister is no different. Since Manny went to college, she has rarely contacted home, making Charlie feel she is just like their mother back then.
I'm not like her. I'm not crazy.
No, you're right. You just don't care.
Manny runs home preoccupied, fearing her grandmother's prophecy about death might come true. The rest of the family, rarely reunited, plan to have a meal together in the yard. Sharp juicers, broken glass cups, and a newly assembled portable gas stove. Potential safety hazards are everywhere. At this point, the cousin cleans up the broken cups at the bar, not noticing a shard falling into the ice pile. The cousin casually places the unfinished beer next to the grill. Death now slowly bares its fangs, but the group remains unaware. The broken glass is poured into a soda cup along with ice. Now it's unclear which unlucky person will get it. The cousin happily bounces on the trampoline with an inverted rake placed under it. Meanwhile, Manny can't help but flip through her grandmother's notes. The dense text and drawings within have long foreseen this death party. Manny rushes to her car and keeps calling her brother on the way, but Charlie is bouncing on the trampoline with the cousin and doesn't notice the calls. In the nick of time, Darlene sees the rake under the trampoline, quickly calls for the children to stop and moves the rake to the wall. When the aunt goes to get food, she accidentally knocks over a wine bottle which hits a machine connected to a hose, causing it to inflate and knock over farm tools by the wall. Just then Manny finally arrives at the scene.
Now the whole family's here!
Uncle Howard steps on a sharp glass shard, hops on one foot and collapses onto the grass. The rake accidentally hits the weed trimmer, crushing Uncle Howard's head into pulp. The family holds a second funeral. Manny no longer doubts her grandmother's words, begins to study the notebook intently and tells the whole story to her family. The obituaries and corpse photos organized by grandmother were actually of the people on Tianjing's observation deck that year, though they escaped falling to their deaths. They died in strange and bizarre ways in the following days. Moreover, the order of their deaths was exactly as Iris had expected. The family interrupts Manny impatiently. What does the death of those on the observation deck have to do with us? Manny's next words send chills down their spines. These people who should have died have lived on for years and even started families and had descendants they shouldn't have. Death will reclaim all excess lives. That is everyone here. Everyone except Manny's father and aunt is threatened by death because their lives that shouldn't exist. Death will come for each branch in order of age. Uncle Howard is the oldest, so death will start with his family. Next will be cousin, then cousin sister and cousin brother, and finally Darlene's branch. Facing terrifying truths, people always try to deny them. The family would rather believe Uncle Howard died by accident than trust Manny's words. Aunt's family quickly gets up to leave, unwilling to hear more nonsense. Even Darlene comes to persuade Manny, don't let Iris ruin your life. Cousin is a piercer, and even his father's death doesn't stop him from going to work. After seeing off the guests, cousin cranks up the music. He casually turns on the electric fan and disinfects the lounge chair with alcohol. The speaker's constant vibration makes the ornaments on it about to fall. Luckily, the father-son photo on his phone's lock screen saddens cousin, so he switches to a slow song and the speaker finally stops shaking violently. Cousin takes out a tattoo gun to tattoo himself, planning to commemorate his father's death. When getting up, he knocks over the alcohol barrel. As he squats to clean up the glass shards, one side of the chain fixing the ceiling fan comes off and happens to catch on cousin's nose ring. The chain tightens continuously due to the rotating fan blades. Cousin can't undo the buckle in a flurry, and can only step on a high place to ease the pain. Unexpectedly, the chair knocks over the table lamp, igniting the alcohol, and the glass counter is also smashed by cousin's foot. When he finally unfastens the buckle, the whole fan falls and cousin tumbles into a sea of flames. His screams ring through the street. The next day, Manny is anxious as she can't reach cousin. She wakes up Charlie and plans to check cousin's workplace. On the way, Charlie receives a text saying the tattoo parlor caught fire. When Manny is about to ask for details, she bumps into cousin. Luckily, his thick jacket saved him from burns last night, though he got a scar from falling onto metal accessories. As he brags about being invulnerable, a car whizzes past behind him. These signs make Manny increasingly uneasy. She looks around and feels safety hazards everywhere, knowing any mistake could kill cousin. But cousin not only disregards it but also deliberately makes dangerous moves to scare Manny. Cousin sister is also tired of these so-called death curses and puts in earphones to go for a morning run.
So take a hint and leave us alone, because death's not coming for our family.
No sooner has she spoken than cousin is proven wrong. The garbage truck driver wearing earphones doesn't notice the accident behind and keeps driving forward. The truck's compaction system has started and cousin's sister is about to be pulled in. Manny quickly climbs onto the truck bed to grab her while cousin and Charlie block the driver on the road. This accident finally shatters the family members' wishful thinking, but Manny just can't figure out why her deduced order went wrong. Hearing this, Anne confesses a secret. Actually, cousin isn't Uncle Howard's biological son. Strictly speaking, he has no blood relation to Iris. That's why he escaped death's punishment. Cousin brother ignores the argument between his mother and brother, for it's almost his turn in the order. He pins all his hopes on Manny as she's the only one who can understand grandma's notes. Manny suddenly Remembers the notebook mentions one person once escaped death's curse. It doesn't elaborate, only naming a key figure, William. Darlene hears her mother mention him before. If I remember right, William works at Hope Hospital about an hour's drive from here. Without delay they decide to find William. Since cousin brother refuses to stay home, Manny and the others take him along nervously. Though still processing his origin, cousin can't let his brother risk alone and joins them in the RV. On the way to the hospital, Manny finds the RV covered with photos of her and her brother. Darlene finally explains her departure. Like Iris, I suddenly gained the ability to foresee my children's deaths. It tortured me, making me lose control of my temper and lash out at the kids for no reason. I gradually saw fear in my daughter's eyes when she looked at me, realizing I'd destroy their lives. Like Iris, I left. But now I'll stay by my daughter's side through this. They arrive at Hope Hospital and cousin brother can't help fearing even when passing through the revolving door. Thankfully, they find William easily.
So, which one of you is next?
He's the resident singer's youngest son, who saw how Iris stopped the disaster that night. 2 years later, this beautiful woman comes to visit, helping William see the truth about his mother's death. The two become friends and together discover a way to escape death's scythe: kill or be killed, a choice between two options. If you take a life, you gain the remaining time of that person. Of course, the only way to truly break this cycle is to die. Long ago, a young woman named Kimberly found herself on death's list. When her heart stopped, doctors managed to save her. This successfully broke the cycle, but the success rate is too low. Few are that lucky. Now William is seriously ill and has little time left. He no longer wants to meddle in this business, only advising everyone to enjoy their remaining lives and not resist pointlessly. Cousin brother isn't willing to die young. Since William has lived so many years before departing, he discusses with his brother and plans to risk a death too. Although there's the option of killing, cousin brother doesn't want to achieve self-preservation by sacrificing others. It's too immoral. Anyway, faking death is a technical task. Cousin brother happens to have a severe nut allergy, and energy bar could kill him.
Hey, dude, wait. No, look, alright? If I'm going out, it's not gonna be on those, unsalted bitches, alright?
Cousin brother carefully selects an energy bar with a bearable taste, but the vending machine gets stuck unexpectedly. The two dangerously tinker around the machine and finally take out the energy bar. Cousin pushes his brother into a side room and goes out to get something for preparation.
What are you talking?
The MRI machine is accidentally activated and the lights turn on in the dark. Manny hurries to look for the brothers. As soon as she finds them missing, after all, there are countless ways to die in the hospital with tangible dangers everywhere. Cousin sets his eyes on a wheelchair, planning to trick it from an old lady. A TV nearby broadcasts MRI precautions, reminding everyone to remove metal items to avoid being attracted by the powerful magnet in the equipment. Cousin pushes the wheelchair back, letting his brother sit and eat the energy bar so he can send him to the emergency room right away. He even takes away his brother's adrenaline syringe on purpose. Watching him take a bite of chocolate, the next second cousin brother's throat swells and his airway closes. Driven by survival instinct, he grabs for the syringe. During their tussle, they knock over the machine's button, increasing the MRI's power. Cousin's phone is sucked onto the manual control button, removed the power limit right away. In an instant, all the piercings on cousin's body tear through his skin and are pulled by the machine, with the wheelchair behind crashing into him and pushing him toward the MRI. The metal bar of the wheelchair pierces his abdomen, resulting in the most horrific death in the film. Cousin brother crawls desperately for the adrenaline syringe and injects his thigh. A nurse outside notices all metal objects sliding toward the MRI room and hurries to check. Unexpectedly, the loose vending machine spring pierces cousin brother's head like lightning the moment the door opens. The rescue not only fails but also costs cousin's life. Now Uncle Howard's branch is completely wiped out and it's Darlene's family's turn next. The only safe place now is Grandma's house. After all, she hid there for 20 years without incident, so Darlene decides to live in Iris' old house. As long as she never goes out and protects herself, misfortune won't befall the two children for the time being. But Manny believes death will definitely strike on the way, so she decides to go with her mother. The three hug and encourage each other, unaware that a coin has fallen from Manny's bag, picked up by an old woman and stuffed into her bag. To prevent a car accident on the road, Manny takes over as driver from her mother. They finally arrive at Grandma's house in the middle of the night, but it's filled with traps and dangers everywhere. Dare not let her mother get out of the car. Manny simply steps on the accelerator and crashes in. The RV successfully drives near the door, but unexpectedly Manny's seatbelt gets stuck. She asks her brother to take their mother into the house first. Anyway, as long as Darlene is safe, Manny won't be in danger even if she's stuck. In the car, little do they know that the previous impact caused the roof wires to spark and the flower pot on the rope that was about to break finally collapses, knocking open the gas. The moment Darlene opens the door, a small spark floats into the room, detonating the gas right away. A huge explosion rushes into the night sky and the RV is knocked into a nearby pond. Due to the seatbelt, Manny is trapped in the water and can't break free, only one step away from suffocation. Charlie is also hit by the collapsing building and the nearby utility pole is about to fall. Darlene quickly comes to move the heavy objects to save people and tells her son to hurry up and help Manny.
I'm gonna stay alive as long as
Without time to grieve, Charlie quickly opens the roof hatch and jumps in to save his sister. He finds a folding knife in the car and wants to cut the seatbelt for his sister. But Manny struggles wildly due to her survival instinct and accidentally knocks the knife off. Charlie has to dive into the water to pick up the knife, but the blade cuts deeply into his finger. He stands the severe pain and continues to cut the seatbelt for his sister, but unexpectedly Manny gradually loses her breath. Luckily, Charlie hurriedly gives first aid and actually saves his sister from the brink of death. The cycle of death is finally broken and they return to a peaceful life. It's Charlie's graduation day and the family accompanies him to the party. The old woman who picked up the coin is shopping at a nearby roadside stall. The coin slips out of her wallet and gets stuck in the groove of the railway track. The neighbor doctor comes to greet them, praising Charlie for his feat of saving his sister.
He, brought me back from the dead.
Well, technically you weren't dead, and then your heart didn't stop.
A foreboding feeling strikes and Manny quickly drags her brother to flee. The train, out of control due to the coin, rushes forward with overwhelming force. In the nick of time, Manny falls to the ground. Luckily, the train is barely stopped by the ground buffer. Before the two can catch their breath, several broken wooden stakes smash over, crushing the siblings to pieces. The film ends here. I still remember the shock brought to viewers on the day Final Destination was released. The fear that comes not from ghosts or gods but from the unknown is truly hair-raising and lingering. Up to the 6th installment of this series, it still delivers a satisfying answer full of blood, various death methods, and consistently implementing the essence of the film. If the King of Hell wants you to die at the 3rd watch, who dares to keep you till the 5th watch? Beneath the thrilling visual experience, it also tells the mystery of fatalism. All in all, it's a very enjoyable horror movie.